Good morning. Welcome to Pot Up with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios.
It's a Friday.
Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We got an action-packed show here on Friday, 8:15. We're going to be joined by Ashley Hodge, who covers the Baylor Bears at Sikkim 365. And at around 8:30ish, we're going to be joined by the one and the only Buddy Martin.
The great Buddy Martin. Man, he's one of those old venerable Gators that's been around and sees and knows everything and has gone through and watched everything, and I think he'll be a great addition to the second part of this show. But I'm looking forward to hearing from Ashley Hodge of Sikkim 360. Baylor is a school that's really kind of been, well, in the past, it's really not been much of a factor in anything, but here they were last year in football, close to getting to the college football playoff, having lost to Oklahoma twice, and in one of those two games I think should have really won. But nevertheless, they played well under Matt Rule, and now they've got a new coach, Dave Aranda. And then the basketball team, of course, has really made an impact early here in the college basketball season with I guess they're 15-1, big road wins, number one in the country, blah, blah, blah. So Florida's going to be in for a big game on Saturday night, a big challenge. I'm looking forward to this. I'm trying to go. Are you going to try to go there, QB?
Probably not.
Probably. I mean, it's
I don't know what I have planned, but I will watch it on TV.
Absolutely.
Because it is so much easier to watch sporting events.
So much easier.
So wherever you are on TV, you don't have to deal with crowds. You don't have to deal with traffic.
God forbid. I mean, the crowds.
Traffic.
I mean, the traffic. Yes. 10,000 fans on campus. That's just murder. I mean, so much traffic. Awful. But listen, I get it. I understand. And I think, unless you have a good seat in that building there, it is kind of, TV does give you a better view. There's no doubt about it. It's a big place inside, even though it only holds 10,000 fans. You just try sitting upstairs, man. That's way up there. But the students will be there, and they'll be excited, of course, and the crowd should be well over 10,000 fans. Could be a sellout. It should be a great game. I love this SEC Big 12 Challenge. You into that? I think it's going to be fun. Do you know how they figure out who plays whom and who gets the home game and who doesn't? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea, but we'll talk about the SEC Big 12 Challenge, which there's some great games.
Oh, yeah.
I actually think the SEC is going to win the challenge.
You want to pick them?
Yeah, we can do that. You want to do that now?
Let's pick them. Why don't we pick them before we sick them?
Okay. So, again, at 8:15, we're going to be joined by Ashley Hodge at Sikkim 365.
That's right. So let's pick them before they sick them.
From the Titan MRI text line, if you want to get involved with the program, it's 352-353-7465. We got a text here from Daryl in Green Coast Springs. Says, good morning, guys. I see the Gators winning 68-60 tomorrow night.
Ooh, 68-60. Is that
I think we're going to win. Daryl, if you want to send that text or tweet, if you want to go to potupwithshane.com, that's where the scoring contest to win one of these nice Yeti-style Radware cups.
Beat Baylor.
Yes. So scoring contest, Florida Baylor score, pick it, and we'll go from there. But right now, SEC Big 12. JC, we'll go down this real quick.
Here we go. Missouri and Western Virginia.
West Virginia blows out Missouri.
Okay, so we both have West Va. All right, Auburn is at home against the Iowa State Cyclones. I'm taking Auburn.
Auburn wins big.
Mississippi State at Oklahoma. Hard to bet against Oklahoma.
Ooh, this is a tough one.
But Mississippi State's tough, man.
I'm gonna go
with the Dogs?
I'm gonna go. Usually the home teams win in college basketball. I'm gonna go with the upset here.
All right,
Mississippi State.
That's a great pick. That's a great pick. LSU at Texas. I like LSU in that one. Jeez, that's already.
Well, this is another tough one. LSU's won so many close games this year. Texas has struggled. It wouldn't shock me if this is a close game, but I'm going to be the homer, and I'm going to take the SEC.
You're going to take the SEC? Arkansas at home against TCU. That's a good game, too. Both teams have got double-digit wins. Arkansas is 14-4. TCU is 13-5. Who do you like there?
I'm going to go with the Hogs and Bud Walton Arena.
Yeah, absolutely you are. Texas A&M and Okie State.
Oh, neither one of these teams are very good.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Buzz Williams because his team is scrappy. They're going to get after you.
Yep.
And I'm just going to go with the home team here. Yep. I think both teams stink.
I like that. Tennessee at Kansas. I think
this is Kansas
will win
blowout city.
Yeah, they'll beat the Vols. Oh, here's a good one. Alabama and Kansas State. I'm
taking
Alabama, baby.
Blowout city.
Wow, basketball is gripping Tuscaloosa right now. Kentucky and Texas Tech, that's a good game.
Kentucky's got too many athletes.
I'm taking Texas Tech.
Yeah, they're not what they were last year.
Okay, well, give me Texas Tech anyway. Florida. Oh, no. Vanderbilt and South Carolina. We'll do that one first.
Well, why would we do that?
Because we do the Gator game last.
Well, Vanderbilt and South Carolina are both in the SEC. That's it. There's only one other.
Baylor and Florida. Okay.
Yeah, Florida wins this game. Okay. So I only have the Big 12 winning 2 games.
I have them winning 4. I have them winning 4. I think Kansas wins, Texas Tech wins, Oklahoma and West Virginia, but I'm rooting for Mississippi State. I'm rooting for all the SEC teams. I don't really want to watch any of the Big 12 teams win, but I do think there are a couple of mismatches with regards to some of these games, and that would be the Alabama-Kansas State game, the Tennessee-Kansas game, perhaps the I think Auburn's going to just blow out Iowa State. I think they'll blow them out. And then only because the game is in Auburn. Now, if it were in Ames, Iowa, I would probably feel differently. West Virginia will beat Missouri, I think.
They would destroy Missouri.
Yeah, and I think you could look at LSU perhaps winning at Texas. Texas is – I don't think they're that good. We'll see, though. We don't know. So those are our picks. We'll come back on Monday and see how they do.
Yeah, well, we'll
see what Ashley thinks. Ashley Hodge of Sikkim 365. He's probably got a few more Big 12 teams winning.
Yeah, probably so. We have on Facebook Live, we have golf trivia.
Well, that's a big tournament. And Tiger played well, by the way.
Well, we're not talking about.
And by the way,
we're
my
not
guy
talking
John,
about Torrey Pines.
I know. I'm just saying, it's the Torrey Pines is where it's at this weekend. Before we get to trivia day, and I think you saw my guy John Rahm. That was one of my picks.
Day 1.
Okay.
A lot of golf left. Rick says, who was the first non-American to win the Masters tournament? What year and where was he from?
That would be the guy from Argentina who forgot to sign his scorecard, but he didn't win. So I guess that wouldn't count. Roberto Di Cescenzo or Roberto. Who is it?
I don't know the answer.
Roberto Di Vincenzo should have won it, but he didn't sign his card, and so he lost. And
we'll let Rick tell us the answer because you may be wrong.
Well,
who was the golfer who got into trouble and lost his endorsements after his comment on the Masters dinner?
Who got in trouble? What does that mean? Gotten in trouble and then lost his endorsements. I mean, I'm sure it was probably Fuzzy Zeller.
I think it was Fuzzy.
Yeah, I would say it's Fuzzy Zeller who said something about Tiger serving fried chicken.
Yeah, I'd love fried chicken and collard greens.
Yeah,
that's a great dinner.
But I guess he got in trouble. But Fuzzy still has a green jacket, so that he did win. So I don't think they took that away from him.
And some other news: the Senior Bowl is tomorrow.
Love the Senior Bowl. QB.
Van
got
Jefferson
some notes here.
Has been tearing it up. I don't want to call him a former Gator. He's a Gator. His dad was Sean Jefferson, who's also a wide receiver coach for the Jets. But they said his route running has been excellent there. The only concern with Van is his straight line speed, and his individual workouts, obviously, and the combine workouts will really help him. But he's a tremendous route runner.
Well, Senior Bowl is a big deal for these kids because it's going to give them a chance to really show what they're all about to these scouts, not just on the field, but talking to them even is a big deal. And one of the guys who's making a big splash right now in Mobile is Justin Herbert, the 6'6" large guy from Oregon who won the Rose Bowl. I don't know if he had a great year, but he didn't have a bad year. And the Ducks did win the Rose Bowl, they like Justin Herbert because of his size and his the way he can spin the football. They like, Oregon didn't have a lot of those anticipation routes they talk about in the NFL, and he was executing some of those. So I think they like him.
He's huge. He can run. He's got great mobility. Got a great arm. But when I look back, and the knock on the Oregon quarterbacks, what they do in college never translates to the NFL. So the last one that really had a long career and was successful was Dan Fouts. But, you look at Mariota, you look at Joey Harrington, you look at Akili Smith.
No. And nothing's come out of there. And you're right, it's about the offense. But, those anticipation routes that you don't see in that offense, they say he was executing very nicely. And that's kind of hard to do when you're just starting to practice with a bunch of new guys and you're, 3 days into a practice session, you're relearning stuff. It's almost like you're a freshman again when you're practicing at the Senior Bowl, but you still have to be effective and you still have to do well and you still have to get the communication down. And I would imagine it's hard. You didn't play in it, did you?
I did not.
Yeah,
I skipped it.
So they're
Probably a mistake.
Well, I mean, I don't think it could have hurt you, but I'm not telling you what to do either.
Well, it's a little late now.
Yeah, it's a little
that
late.
Was back, 28 years ago.
Something like that, yes. They say Alabama's got quite a few guys over there. The whole South team basically is SEC players. They're just everywhere, and you can tell just by the physical appearance of what these guys look like compared to some of these guys on the North team.
So Jalen Hurts has to play against all those guys.
He
right?
does. He's going to be on that North team.
He should have asked for a trade
or waiver. But some guys were saying, and I got this on some of the other shows I listened to, that Alabama conceivably could have 5 first-round picks, and that's kind of amazing when you think about it. But Jerry Jeudy, Tua, Terrell Lewis, Ruggs, Anthony Jennings, these are all guys that they say could go in the first round. Tua, it's all about the doctors and what they say as far as what the Miami Dolphins are looking at, but they believe that the Miami Dolphins are going to go with him, and the Bengals, of course, would take Joe Burrow, who will not be at that game, and there's no reason to be at that game.
Absolutely no reason to be there.
Couple of new Facebook Live posts here. John Sowers, great to hear you back on the airways. Thank you for having us. Hunter, again, an offensive lineman from St. John's Division III, who was tearing up very smooth on his feet, and a big guy, my underdog of the next draft. Who is he talking about there?
Offensive lineman from St. John's.
Who is it?
We don't have his name.
Oh. Okay, well, it's good to have you guys listening and watching, and we appreciate that. We reach everywhere now on Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning and JC here because, you can watch us at any point during the day, and online, it goes anywhere. So unlike a morning drive show on the radio where you tune it in and as soon as you drive out of town, you don't hear it anymore, we are reaching far and wide, and we love all our sponsors, Campus USA, and so many others, Titan MRI, Radware, it goes on and on. You can hear our sponsors during the breaks, and make sure you patronize, and we appreciate all that they've done to keep us and get us up and running here as we get this thing going here in early 2020.
Yeah, and like I said, we're going to take a break here in just a minute, not right now, but a short break around 8:15, and we're going to have Ashley Hodge, who covers the Baylor Bear basketball program at Sikkim 365. He's going to talk about the number 1 team rolling into Gainesville, what his thoughts are about Baylor going on the road. This is the second time, I believe, Baylor's been the number 1 team in the country. I think it was in 2017. But this is a hard-nosed, scrappy basketball team. We'll get his thoughts. And then later in the program, around 8:30, we're going to have Buddy Martin, longtime sports writer, been covering the Gators, NFL, you name it. He's a very, very successful book writer.
He's got all the stories. He's got all the stories that came before you did. I don't know if we want to go that far back, but he could tell you about those teams in the 80s and the 70s and everything. So that's how long he's been around. Ken asks, what part of Mississippi did you grow up in, Shane?
Well, I grew up in the Delta up in Cleveland until I was 15 and then lived 2 years on the coast.
Okay, so tell us where the Delta is.
It's
some of us geography people.
Up by the Mississippi River, up in Cleveland, Mississippi, which is near, up in the Delta. It's near
the northwest part of the state?
Correct.
Middle part of the state?
Yeah, about 15, not even that far from the Mississippi River, about 12 miles.
Right,
miles.
That's east of the river. How far north in the state were you? Cleveland?
It's up there.
It's up there close to Tennessee.
Yeah.
So he was way up there in the northwest, and then what happened?
I moved to Pascagoula. I only lived there 2 years, so I've lived both in the South Mississippi and North Mississippi.
Pascagoula, of course, for everybody who isn't sure, is in the South Gulf Coast,
right
where
near
the
Mobile.
Chevron refinery is, and or was, and right there by. Oh, it is okay. And then Biloxi is right next to that, and Moss Point, great place, and the Gulf Coast, Ocean Springs, awesome place there.
So we're going to go ahead and take our first time out.
I got married in Ocean Springs.
Yeah. How's that treating you?
Good. We're catching up on year 2.
You want to move back to Ocean Springs, right?
I like Ocean Springs. I like that new bridge. I'll tell you this.
Do you run that bridge?
Woo! I've tried it. It's long. It's a 1.7 miles each way, so it's 3.4 miles to do the bridge.
Do you walk it or run it?
I walk it now.
I think you should sprint.
I've tried. No, it's not sprintable. It goes like this, and then it goes long like this, and turns around and goes down to the Golden Nugget Casino from Ocean Springs. But I'll tell you, man, it's a great bridge. A lot of healthy people walking up and down that bridge, and it's a great area. That Ocean Springs area, QB, in Mississippi, is probably my favorite spot in the entire state. It's got a cool little downtown. It's a great place. If you ever get a chance to go, folks, down I-10, you're heading to New Orleans or Biloxi, take a stop at Ocean Springs. It's the Chamber of Commerce, of course, here for Ocean Springs.
All right.
But it's a great place. So do not discount Ocean Springs.
We'll be right back. This is Pot Up with
do it.
Matthews in the morning.
Time out! Time out! Hey! Time out! Time out! Time out! There we go. Good.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills.
Let's give them something to cheer for now.
Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security, small enough to serve you, large enough to care.
Bob in trouble, gets rid of it. Oh, big hit.
Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility.
Our touchdown sponsors are Radware Promotional Materials, Gators Dockside, Doreen Weeby Realtor, Gator BTW, Campus USA Credit Union, Celebration Point Town Center, Miapa Latin Cafe, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, The Keys Restaurant, UF Mover Guys, Union Home Mortgages, Okido America Martial Arts and After School, and Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click on the advertise button or call Freddie Weeby at 352-284-3733.
Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Still looking. He's going for the end zone. He's got a touchdown.
It's campus. All right, here we go.
Welcome back to
Time.
Pot Up with Matthews in the morning, coming to you live every Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. from the Crime Prevention System Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We're going to go to the Titan MRI hotline right now, be joined by Ashley Hodge at Sikkim 365 covering the Baylor Bears. Ashley, appreciate you getting up and joining the program. How are you, my man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. So let the Gator Nation know the Baylor Bears, I think it's the second time in school history they've been number one team in the country. I believe it was the last time was in 2017.
Yeah, right.
What can the Gator fans, when Baylor rolls into the O'Connell Center, what kind of team can they expect? I mean, obviously, I watch a lot of college basketball. I know what to expect from Baylor, but a lot of the Gator fans, they are only used to watching SEC-type teams. What can they expect from Baylor?
Well, I think this team is really has two things that stick out. One of them is toughness. They are a very tough team. They play great defense, and really starts with three guys that are arguably as good on defense as anybody in the nation. Davion Mitchell, for SEC fans, they may have seen him play a few games at Auburn. He's a freshman at Auburn, transferred to Baylor, sat out last year, and now he's the starting point guard for Baylor. He's an excellent defender, and he doesn't gamble a lot. He just plays really sound fundamental defense. Marc Vidal, who came to Florida a couple years ago when Florida blew out the Bears in the SEC Challenge. Marc Vidal is a very tough, undersized power forward, 6'5", kind of one of those glue guys, does everything, blocks shots, takes charges, rebounds very well, one of the best offensive rebounders in the country. And then Freddie Gillespie, their big, is a 6'9", 7'6" wingspan, a former walk-on from Division III who's just worked and become one of the best big men in the Big 12. So really, I would say defense and then offensive rebounding and rebounding in general. That's their two strengths. They've got good guards, and they've got some guards that can score, but they can really go hot and cold from the perimeter. But those are the two things that they've delivered every single game: defense and rebounding.
One of the things I've noticed, Ashley, about this Baylor team is their ability to really play well on the road. They've won at Kansas. They've won at Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. The other night they won at home against Oklahoma. So they've really taken over the Big 12. But why is this team so resilient on the road? Is it their age? Is it their veterans? Or what is it about this team?
Yeah, I think it goes back to my first answer. Defense travels, rebounding travels. So if you're good at those two things, then you give yourself a shot on the road. And I don't think they are somewhat unflappable. Doesn't mean that Florida's not going to beat them and even beat them by a good margin, but they do. They don't feel like the environment is too big for them. So they're a team that doesn't get rattled easily. They're an older team.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're speaking with Ashley Hodge, covers the Baylor Bears at Sikkim 365. We had a text here on the Titan MRI text line from one of our listeners, Fred in Naples, Florida. He wants to know, does Baylor still rely on their zone defense? Because I know Scott Drew has been known to play a lot of zone. Are they still playing zone, or has he gone to a lot of man-to-man?
Yeah, it's a great question. They are predominantly a man-to-man team this year, and Scott's one of those coaches that will just the personnel will dictate the style of play. And so this year he's got 3 to 4 really good guards that are great defenders. And so he's playing predominantly man to man. They'll throw in zone as a curveball every now and then, but it's man to man.
Ashley, Baylor has, I mentioned this earlier before we brought you on, the news flow out of Baylor here in the last 6 months has really been positive. There's a lot of good things happening there. The football team had a really good year. Unfortunately, couldn't get past Oklahoma, should have. But then, of course, losing Matt Rule. But really, I think Baylor University is really on the upswing. This basketball team has taken the headlines now. What is the vibe like in Waco? And is Baylor, with Dave Aranda coming in now, the kind of team that the Big 12, could challenge for the Big 12 on a consistent basis? I want to talk football too.
Yeah, of course,
Shane.
of course.
Shane's yelling at me. We got Baylor's 365 on here.
I know, but I
can talk about basketball. But I mean, come on, we're talking Baylor.
All right.
Go.
Well,
365.
It remains to be seen about Aranda. He obviously taking a big step up from defense coordinator to head coach, but I do like the hire from the sense that Baylor's really built their football identity on defense. And so Dave Aranda's known as a defensive guru, and that's going to certainly, he's walking into a situation where that culture is already in place. But as far as their overall success, I think it really starts with Mac Rhodes, the athletic director who was originally at Missouri before they hired him. And then the president, the board of regents, there's just a commitment to spend money. They do pay top 10, their football compensation typically has been top 10. So I think it all starts there. I mean, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to have a good team, but when you have the commitment from the school and from the athletic department, from the president, then you give yourself a chance.
We're speaking with Ashley Hodge of Sikkim 365, talking Baylor on the Titan MRI hotline. Back to basketball, since that's the most important thing here Saturday night. Scott Drew, talk about him a little bit. I mean, he took over a mess at Baylor in the basketball program. Yeah. What he's done for the program, and also it seems like he's kind of built the program on a lot of older transfers. Is that kind of his MO?
Yeah, that's another great question. I would say early on, a lot of coaches fall into this trap, and this is a trap that may get a guy like Shaka Smart fired at Texas. You get enamored with recruiting high school kids, the 5 stars, going after them. Drew did land a couple of those. He landed guys like Perry Jones, Quincy Miller, Isaiah Austin. But then I think he just realized that I'm not winning with these guys. I'm winning with guys like Tweety Carter and Quincy Acey and some of those guys that are becoming seniors. And so he really had a shift. And so now I think all the focus is on finding guys that are tough, finding guys that are gym rats, finding guys that will redshirt. And so he's taking guys like Jonathan Motley, Torian Prince, Royce O'Neal. Those guys are the guys that have really succeeded in the program, gone on to play in the NBA. And, it's really been a culture of wait your turn, offensive rebounding, Rico Gathers, Marc Vidal, these just tough guys that can hit the boards hard. And that's really what's changed. I think the DNA and the culture of Baylor basketball for the better. I think the fans really appreciate that style of play.
Ashley, I'm interested in this SEC Big 12 Challenge type of event that they have going this weekend. There are a couple of SEC games between just SEC teams, but in the conference battle that we have going on here, we've got 9 games. So how do they figure out who plays where or whom? If that's or if it's just random. And then how do you think it's going to go this weekend with these two conferences playing each other?
Yeah, I did a podcast on Sigum 365, and I think our consensus was we predicted a 5-5, so a tie between the SEC and the Big 12 based on the matchups. But it's really predicated on who they think is going to be good preseason.
Yeah.
Preseason, obviously Florida was expected to be a top 10 team. Baylor was also expected to be really good preseason. So that's the reason for this matchup, even though Baylor played at Florida a couple years ago. I think Tennessee was expected to be better, and so they play Kansas, and so I think that's what they look at from the matchup standpoint. But as you see, it doesn't always work out that way. And
I would be willing to bet, since you're 5-5, I went 6-4 with the SEC, and I'll bet you the difference is this game here on Saturday night.
Well, I'm a homer, Ashley.
Well,
I went 8-2 at the SEC.
Oh my God!
But
wow.
I have two games that are kind of, you never know. I think Mississippi State is a really talented team and could upset Oklahoma, although on the road it's tough. And the other game that I'm not sure about is can Kentucky win at Texas Tech? Oklahoma State, Texas A&M is kind of toss up to me, but we'll see. My final question for you before we let you go, and we really do appreciate you joining us. It's going to be a hostile environment. The O'Connell Center with the Rowdy Reptiles. It's a great place for college basketball, especially a night game with the number one team coming in. What does Baylor have to do to walk out of there with a victory?
Well, they've got to make 3-pointers. They've had some games where they've won, where they've shot poorly from the 3-point line. But when they went into Kansas and were able to beat Kansas by double digits, it's because they made shots. Jared Butler, Maceo Teague, Davion Mitchell, Devontae Bandu, those guys have got to, be productive from the 3-point line. Otherwise, I would say the Gators will win. Now I did predict, for the record, that Baylor would lose to Florida. So the 5-5 I think was Kansas beating Tennessee, West Virginia beating Missouri, and Texas Tech upsetting Kentucky. Although I wouldn't bet my life on that one. Oklahoma beating Mississippi State, and then I think Oklahoma State beating Texas A&M. Those were the games that I had.
I could see those.
Makes sense to us. Well, listen, Ashley, we really do appreciate you coming on with us here early in the morning. And let me just tell you, enjoy Gainesville and the atmosphere on Saturday. The establishments across University Avenue, from the football stadium and the basketball arena, is where you want to patronize. Trust me.
All right. Sounds good.
It's a good stuff. Thank you for joining us, Ashley Hodge, Sikkim 365, here on the Titan MRA Hotline.
Appreciate it, Ashley. Take care, my
man.
Thank
you. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Devontae Bandu. That is a name right
there. They're a good basketball team, but I think they're going to run into a hornet's nest.
Or a swamp. Yeah. Get swallowed up. Alligators would eat a bear. If you threw a bear in the lake or a swamp, he's dead.
That would be a heck of a fight.
I'm betting on the alligator.
Are you?
Bite his,
Have you ever seen a big old bear? Have you ever seen these big old bears?
Well, they're big. Maybe not. Maybe the bear would just
Maybe we have a wildlife guy that could tell us who would win that battle.
There's lots of nature enthusiasts here in the Alachua County area. I'm sure you could look one up there, Taylor. But listen, we got 8:29 here on the morning, and Buddy Martin is up next. We're going to take a quick time out and bring him on. The Titan MRI hotline. Our number is 352-353-7465. You can text us or Facebook Live us, if there is such a thing, to ask questions to Buddy as we bring in the old Gator here right after this timeout.
Timeout! Timeout! Hey! Timeout! 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 There we go. Good.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills.
Let's give them something to cheer for now.
Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security, small enough to serve you, large enough to care.
I'm in trouble. Oh, big head.
Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility.
Our touchdown sponsors are Radware Promotional Materials, Gators Dockside, Doreen Weeby Realtor, Gator BTW, Campus USA Credit Union, Celebration Point Town Center, Miapa Latin Cafe, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, The Keys Restaurant, UF Mover Guys, Union Home Mortgages, Aikido America Martial Arts and After School, and Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click on the Advertise button or call Freddie Wiebe at 352-284-3733.
Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Still looking. He's going for the end zone. He's got a touchdown.
Celebration Point is where the Gators come to celebrate with premium brands like Bass Pro Shops, Nike, Palmetto, Moon, Regal Cinemas, and coming soon, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We will see you at Celebration Point, where Gators come to celebrate. Welcome back to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care, Titan MRI hotline, text line, phone line, any kind of line. 352-353-7465. We're trying to get in touch with Buddy. Buddy must have had a late night.
Yeah, 8 o'clock, 9:30.
No, man, he doesn't do his show until like 9:30 at night.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, he's
He's late.
He's got a lot of folks out there listening to old Buddy Martin. So we're trying to run him down. Maybe he's eating a big breakfast or something.
Well, hey, if he stays up real late, he might still be sleeping there, QB. Although I would doubt it. When I was doing the old TV gig, man, he was so nice to me, and I really enjoyed going on his show from time to time. So he's been doing it for a long time, wrote some books, certainly has a lot to say, not just about the good times at Florida, but all about those times in the 80s and 70s when things weren't so good here. But there are a lot of those folks still kicking, and that's an important era for many Gator fans here. This UF, this was what they wore on the helmet, and that was in the 70s when I was growing up here watching those guys play, and they would do a 7-5 season. They would occasionally beat Auburn. They would now and then beat Tennessee. But then all of a sudden you'd watch them lose to Vanderbilt, and they never beat Georgia. So it was a tough time. And Buddy, he's seen it all. So we hope we can get him on here and share some time with us. But we've got about 30 minutes to go or 25 minutes to go. And, we've been talking to, if you just joined us and missed our prior segment with Ashley Hodge, the Baylor guy that we've got here in town as they come in to try to win another road game. We talked a lot about their basketball team and how they need to hit some three-point shots to win this game against Florida. Florida's a tough team to beat in Gainesville, a very good home team. And so Baylor's going to come in here and try to do things they weren't able to do 2 years ago when they got run out of the barn. So this is a better team that came in, that's coming in than the one that came in 2 years ago, and I would expect this to be a very close game.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Like I think we win this game by double digits.
Oh, so you don't think it's close?
Well, it's going to be close for a while.
It's not close.
Well, it will be close for a while, and then we will pull away. I just think the home court advantage in a night game like this with the atmosphere.
Yeah, it's tough.
And it's not like we're not talented. We're extremely talented. We can match up with them. They're physical, and they're a lot like LSU.
Team.
They're good defensively. Yeah. LSU's not great defensively, but they're a great offensive rebounding team. They're going to be crashing the boards, so it's going to be crucial for us to block out.
Yeah, he picked Florida.
Yeah,
Ashley did, as did you. I'm picking the Gators. I don't know why I wouldn't. Although Baylor's best team they've played, I think, going up to this point in the season, I would guess, and certainly at 16-1. You'd have no argument from anybody with that. The SEC Big 12 Challenge is a cool event that he and UC he has them going 5-5 for each conference. I've got 6-4, and you've got 8-2. So,
well, I have an 8-2 with an asterisk.
Well, listen, your pick of Mississippi State over Oklahoma is a great pick because that is a team that is capable of winning at Oklahoma. It's just hard to do, and I don't know. I mean, Oklahoma's not bad.
I mean, probably the worst game.
The worst game is Tennessee and Kansas.
No.
That's a blowout, you said.
Well, it's going to –
West Virginia, Missouri.
The worst game to watch – because I think West Virginia is fun to watch.
Okay.
But is Oklahoma State, Texas A&M.
Okay.
From a viewer standpoint, if you have all these games on TV, that would be the one that I would not care to watch. It's going to be interesting at Kansas. Tennessee plays some nasty defense. They're nowhere near the team they were last year. But you got to remember, I don't know what guys are suspended from that fight. They suspended some guys.
Yes, they did.
So
and that's
I'm not
a good
sure
point.
if it's any of their studs or what.
Right.
But even if you told me who they were,
yeah.
I wouldn't know if they were
good or not. But
anybody that plays at Kansas is good, Jason.
Whether or not they're an impact player. How's that sound?
Look who we got that just sent a Facebook Live.
Lamar Thomas, the Bobcat, Buchholz Bobcat.
Yep, the old Miami Hurricane.
I remember him. He's my age. Yeah, Buchholz, baby. Sick 'em cats. So they can do
What
this.
is Rick asking here?
Rick's asking about football for the Gators and went on to play with the Dallas Cowboys. Who played football for the Gators and went on to play for the Dallas Cowboys? Maybe that was some guy number 22.
Yeah, the all-time leading rusher.
Somebody like that. Kansas State's also going to lose a couple guys when they travel to Alabama because of that fight. So,
well, Kansas State style of play,
they're not going to beat
They
Alabama.
can't keep up with Alabama and Coleman Coliseum.
Good. Let's root for them and see how that goes. Arkansas is playing who's Arkansas playing?
The Hogs are playing.
It's a good game.
TCU.
They're playing the Frogs.
Frogs and the Hogs.
Frogs and Hogs, baby. And then that Kentucky-Texas Tech game, be careful there because Texas Tech is a very capable team. So Kentucky could go in there and win that for sure, no doubt about it. So that along with – and then the Pro Bowl is this weekend. I don't know if anybody cares about that.
Nobody.
But nobody probably cares about that. Why
that.
are they doing that? Okay. And then the Super Bowl a week from this weekend. I meant to ask – Ashley, even though he's with the Baylor guy, what his thoughts were on that, but we ran out of time. We probably should have had him on a little longer. The Super Bowl is really exciting. I mean, this Chiefs and 49ers, the two best teams of football. I can't get a read on it. I guess we'll talk about this more next week.
We're kind of switching gears.
Yeah, switch gears. So I'm trying to switch.
I'm going back to college baseball. The polls came out yesterday.
Yeah, baseball, and they're number one.
Okay, USA Today has, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
A bunch.
I think 10 SEC teams in the top 25. Vanderbilt's number one.
That's
the Gators at 10 there.
Yeah.
But in the Baseball America poll, it has the Gators at number 4.
Wow, look at that. Georgia, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Auburn, all in the top 10 with Florida. And then, of course, you've got LSU lingering around with A&M and Ole Miss. This conference is
baseball starts, I think, Valentine's Day.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's unbelievable how good baseball is here.
And then while we're going back to college basketball, but I thought this was phenomenal because I told you, and if you look at Twitter, you see all the people that have been on Mike White, right? Do you ever see these people that complaining? People in your office don't complain about Mike White?
Not really.
Okay, well, I hear it daily, and it drives me insane.
That's your fault.
So our good buddy Chris Harry.
Yes, I like him.
And if you want to follow him, it's at Gators Chris.
Yes.
He came up with this, where was Billy Donovan 18 games into his 5th year versus where Mike White is. So I'm going to read you some stuff here.
Let's hear it.
Overall, Billy D was 92-53, so about a 63% winning percentage. Mike White, 101-59, 63% winning percentage. In the SEC, Billy D, 37-34 at 52%. Mike White, 47-31 at 60%. The SEC tournament, both are 3-4.
Okay.
NCAA, Billy Donovan, 7-2 with 1 Final Four. Mike White, 5-3 with 1 Elite 8.
Okay.
And in the NIT, Billy D was 0-1. Mike White was 2-1.
2-1.
So basically what he's trying to say is we're in good hands, folks.
I think people unfairly compare. Obviously, the 2 championships that Billy Donovan had put him in the NBA and gave him all of the accolades that he deserves, and certainly did it with a bunch of players that nobody had heard of until after they had won, right? So that was an accomplishment. And so folks try to measure those accomplishments with what's going on first. Well, the thing is, Mike White's not done yet. Give him
He's not done, but
right.
Again, I try to tell people we're not a blue blood when it comes to basketball.
No, it's true, but they weren't back then either.
No, but they kind of came out of nowhere, and it kind of fell into place. And what he did winning those back-to-back national titles is probably the greatest accomplishment of any
amazing.
coach at the university.
No doubt.
Now, I'm not saying, because Mouse Holloway has won 1 million track titles, but I'm saying because it's the University of Florida and you won not only one basketball title, but you win 2 back-to-back. If you do that at North Carolina, Duke, Kansas, somewhere, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
But it is here.
Oh, it was unbelievable. But I thought even more amazing was who he did it with. Like Corey Brewer, Joakim Noah, Al Horford, Lee Humphreys. These guys, nobody wanted them. They didn't know who these guys were, and they turned into the best 5 players that Florida's ever put on the court playing together. So certainly that was, and I agree with you, the best accomplishment from any coach really. But, we've got softball championships. We've got the tennis program at Florida is second to none.
But those are programs
both men's
that
and
you
women.
think of
And
when you
would
think of Florida.
Sure, and they should win. Those spring sports should be very dominant because of more than anything, just basic geography and math. It's just it's what they do down here. Okay, so Rick's back. What was the lineman that played for the I'm going to throw out Burton Lawless. You don't know who that is, but Burton Lawless, maybe Jeff Zimmerman.
Crawford Kerr.
Somebody, Crawford Kerr played for Dallas. So there's a lot of them, Rick. Let's make sure. There were a couple others that you wiped away there, Taylor, that I was going to read, but they're gone. Oh, Crawford Kerr from Eric, good guess. And yes, Michael, you're right. Michael B. Lon Kruger was a great coach here at Florida, bringing them to that beautiful 94 run they had with absolutely
Who did we beat in that run, Jesse?
Well, we did beat James Madison, and the Gators beat Connecticut and Boston College. But Indiana was there. I remember Bobby Knight. I was right. And I don't think Dan remembered Bobby was even there because obviously he was concentrating on who they were playing. But Indiana lost to Boston College in one of those games, and Florida beat Connecticut in the other. And then, of course, Florida beat Boston College to go to the Final Four where they played the Duke Blue Devils in Charlotte. And had it not been for Grant Hill, the Gators would have played Arkansas in the finals because they beat the Arizona Wildcats in the other game. That was the early game of that Final Four. I'll never forget it. And it's something that will hopefully it was something that Florida basketball eventually eclipsed with the Billy Donovan era.
We got a text from the Titan MRI text line. It's Jackson from Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, cool.
Longtime Gator, but I love my Bengals.
Yeah.
Louisville is pretty close to Cincinnati.
Very.
He goes, do you really think Joe Burrow is going to be a great pro? And should the Bengals take him? Jackson, thanks for the text on the Titan MRI text line. I do. I think Cincinnati, if they do not take Joe Burrow, they're idiots.
They don't care at that point.
But I mean,
it's more than just Joe Burrow, the quarterback. It's Joe Burrow, the marketing that.
But
they
Joe
can do.
Burrow's from the state,
and that's what I'm talking about. And then you've got AJ Green, who's a free agent. Don't you want to maybe keep him? And he didn't play at all last year, so he's probably healed up from whatever ailed him. And gee whiz, I mean, AJ Green is a very good wide receiver. Joe Burrow needs people around him, and he could really do a lot of special things with some of those players. Joe Mixon is a pretty effective running back at Cincinnati, so he could be like Edwards-Helaire. AJ Green could be like one of those wonderful wide receivers they had at LSU, and there's probably a couple other guys they have at Cincinnati that we don't even know about that, I think Cincinnati has to and will take them, Jackson. There's no doubt about it. And if they don't, it will be only because somebody opened up the shed and just unloaded all of their picks on Cincinnati to try to rebuild that team. Because there are a couple of good quarterbacks. Justin Herbert's coming out. We don't know about Tua's health yet, but he's a good quarterback. And, you've got the Eason kid out of Washington that's coming out. So there are some choices there. But Joe Burrow is far and away the man at quarterback with the things he did this past year. And even though it was just 1 year, it was 1 year that nobody will ever forget. So I think they got to take him. And if they don't, I would be just floored. I mean, it would make no sense to me whatsoever unless they got, 3 picks from Carolina and had a multi-team trade. I just can't imagine. So, yes, Jackson, I think you're going to be okay with Joe Burrow.
Yep. Another text here on the Titan MRI text line. Shelly from Apopka says, hey, guys, love the show. I'm a huge Gator softball fan. When is the game against the USA softball team? Gosh, she put us on the spot here. Maybe Taylor can look that up.
We'll look that up
but
for you,
the
Shelly.
USA
Don't give up on
softball
us.
team, who has like Aubrey Monroe, some other former Gators, are playing an exhibition here against The Gator softball
that's
team.
cool. That's very cool. The Tim Walton family. I mean, what a dynasty.
I think preseason they were ranked 5th in the conference.
Yeah, I mean, in the conference? Ooh, the conference is tough.
Yeah, well,
When is the
his
SEC?
worst? And this sounds terrible, but in my opinion, what he did last year may have been his greatest coaching job, getting them to the Women's World Series, because it was his, and it's not the right way to phrase it, but it was his worst team.
Well,
But they got to
simple.
the College World Series. The Gator softball game versus the USA softball team.
Yeah, and it's at the great new facility they have over there on campus, which I think isn't there going to be a SEC tournament coming here at some point? I can't wait to
Couple of
watch it.
years.
I love that.
We have a Facebook Live from
stuff.
JR. He says, "Will Florida make the NCAA or NIT?" Dude, we're going to NCAA. You can book it.
Yeah.
We will not.
Why
be
would
in
JR
it.
ask that though, QB?
Well, he's probably one of the Gator fans that looks at our record, and we're a very good basketball team, folks. Very good, extremely talented, and they will be in the NCAA. Book it. Have we found that?
So
yet?
there you go.
You haven't found it?
It's okay.
All right, I'll see if I can find it.
We'll figure it out. Say again, Taylor.
I'm not sure what the question is.
It's okay.
Gator softball versus USA softball.
Yeah, the Gators versus the USA team. Yeah, so they'll be coming here. And I don't know. I can't really think about that just yet because
Why?
it's January.
They start in like a
February.
week.
Oh, is it a week?
Yeah.
Is it early February?
Yeah.
Well, we have a big week next week, obviously, too, with signing day, the 2nd of 2, to wrap up the recruiting class coming on Wednesday of next week. So maybe we'll get somebody in there to
The
wrap
first
that
official
up for
softball
us.
game is February 7th.
Well, that is close. I didn't know they played that soon.
So the exhibition is way before that.
Okay. So
Have we found it yet, Taylor?
Well, it's coming. But I don't know. I think baseball and softball are just some of they really carry you through the spring here in Gainesville specifically, particularly competitive, and they bring in some good teams in here to watch for the fans to enjoy. And when that baseball stadium is ready to rock and roll, then they can say, "Wow, look at what Florida's got." The same way we say, "Wow, look at what Arkansas, Mississippi State, LSU, South Carolina, Tennessee, look at what all they got." So that's coming.
I believe I'm having trouble here, but I think it's February the 11th. I think it's in the middle of the season, if I'm not mistaken.
It might not because they played Japan.
Nope, here it is, February 11th. February 11th.
It says 12th, February 12th.
Well, that's when they played Japan.
Japan.
February 11th, USA softball is here in town,
Okay.
right there. See, February 11th, USA
Beautiful.
softball.
Tuesday night. Let's
Tuesday
go.
at 6 p.m.
Let's go. You
You have to go check that out.
I think I will.
Because I
Those
think
are good players.
Michelle
Thank you, Rick.
Moultrie is on that team.
Lynn T. February 11th is USA. Will be engaged. Well, thank you, Lynn, for helping us out there. What's the one up on top of that baseball? They need to call the new UF baseball facility the Orange Grove, since that is what was there before. Looks like a great place. Very creative. Nice job there, Michael. Nice job, Michael. Certainly, it's going to be fun to have. I will then start going to baseball games because I just basically boycotted the what they call that place, though.
McKeithen Stadium.
Yeah, awful. Worst place in the conference, probably in the country for a school this size. But now we're moving on. They're going to bulldoze that place, thank God, put it out of its misery, and stick a football facility there or something that is useful to the university's success, and not that garbage baseball stadium they played in for I don't know how many years. But the Orange Grove, I like the Orange Grove. We got the Hole and the Orange Grove. Mm-hmm. Katie Seashole, Presley, right? Mm-hmm. Softball, baseball, like I said, that's a spring deal. We'll get to that. We've got a lot to talk about here in the next couple of months, at least, with Florida.
Yep. Don't forget, if you want to get in the scoring challenge, the contest to win one of these Radware Yeti-style cups, they'll ship it straight to you. Score of the Gators versus the number one team in the country, the Baylor Bears. So give us you can do it on Facebook Live. You can do it via Twitter. You can do it via
Apple,
website.
iTunes.
podupwithshane.com. Apple iTunes is where you listen to it.
Freddie must just die when I try talking about these things because I just don't.
Okay, it's simple. Here we go.
All right.
We're on Facebook Live.
Facebook Live.
We're on YouTube.
YouTube, I know
We're
that.
on Spotify. And we're on
see,
Apple
I don't know
Podcasts.
that one.
Okay.
Spotify. Do you know what a Spotify is?
It's some app. I don't know how to do any of
Well,
that.
everybody who's watching and listening likely does know what Spotify is, and Apple iTunes.
So, JC, do you think the Gators beat the Baylor Bears?
I mean, I think so. I don't see why
You're not one
It's-
of these fans. That
I'm
just
not
because
as-
they're number
let's
one
just
team
say-
in the country. We have no chance.
No. But they're very good, and they're the best team Florida will have played up to this point. So I think that Florida will likely have to play. Yeah, I think you're going to have to play their best game.
They don't have to be best.
I just think you're going to have to expect to play your best game. Maybe there will be a sloppy game out there on Saturday night, but I don't think so. I think Baylor is loaded. Defensively, they're good, and we heard Ashley talk about Ashley talking about their three-point shooting. Couple of predictions. Freddie says Baylor 75-67.
I don't see that at all.
Amanda says happy Friday. Good. You love these guys, these folks like Amanda and all these wonderful people that join us and just like want to say good morning or stuff.
Well,
Why don't you say good morning back to them?
good
QB?
morning, folks?
I mean,
Do they make you happy, JC?
well, it's nice to have people come in and say good morning. But now you're probably wanting a question like, do you think Devontae Bandu will have 6 3-pointers against the Gators?
Yes.
Who cares? Whether he does or not, we'll find out. But don't you love it when somebody like Amanda says, good morning and happy Friday? It puts you in such a good mood.
Great mood. Yep, absolutely. No
So
doubt about it.
I'm excited about this game Saturday night. I hope I can get in there. I've got to call some of my contacts to get in because I'm not a season ticket holder.
Well, that's,
And you're going to watch it on TV, but I'm going to try to go, baby. It's Saturday night in Gainesville. Maybe I'll meet Ashley Hodge. I can show him around, show him some of the cool places to go before the game. That's fun.
He may be too busy
That's
working.
fun. What? He's going to work during the game and probably after the game, sticking his phone in someone's face and getting a couple quotes for Sick'em 365.
Why don't we send you down there to get some quotes after the game? Since you're
Get
the
me a
one to go.
pass. You got a pass here from Freddie? Freddie got me a pass, maybe? No? Yes?
No, I'm not in charge of media passes.
Yes, but you have the contacts. So anyway, we'll talk about that on Monday. It's a big game. The weekend. It's that weekend, off weekend before the Super Bowl. So
Lamar says Ironwood Golf Course is awesome. Go check
Eric out.
Yep.
Eric can
That
hit
dude
it
can
about
hit it a mile.
400 yards. Eric Thomas, great guy. Thank you, Lamar, for watching and joining us today.
If speaking of Lamar, was a college football coach,
Yeah.
wide receiver coach for a while.
Yeah.
I don't think he's with a team right now. But if Miami was smart, which I don't know how smart they are, because
I
we've
don't
seen
either.
what they've done the last
Yeah.
couple, they would hire him.
What? Yeah,
But
he's a guy.
but-
He's a guy. He's a
Yeah.
dude. He's a Miami guy.
Well, he's a former coach. He
Yeah,
played there. He's an
for him.
All-American
God,
there.
Gino Toretta was trying to throw balls to him against Alabama in that Sugar Bowl. We remember that, Lamar. But no. I remember Lamar playing for my Bobcats. I was at school with Lamar. He doesn't know me, probably doesn't remember, but I
You were
remember
not in
him.
school when Lamar was there.
I wasn't?
No,
I
he's
was
my age.
Oh, okay. So I'm sorry, Lamar, but I was before you. But we're Bobcats. We're on the same team, baby. Black and gold forever. So okay. So that's good to have everybody join us today. It's been a fun show. We missed Buddy. I don't know what happened. That's
Buddy
all.
must have-
You gotta follow up on that, QB. That's your
will.
guy. So we'll get Buddy next week, hopefully, and maybe we'll have some good discussion with him as we go into recruiting next week on Wednesday with the second signing day. We'll, of course, review the Baylor game with Florida. We'll look forward to the week ahead, and it's Super Bowl week as they get ready to crank it up in Miami for 54.
Have a great weekend. You've been
you
watching
there.
and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the morning. Have a good weekend.